When change comes, it can be slow and subtle, or a rush and a roar. As a teacher, I like to think of myself as a wave maker. I create opportunities with unique expectations that my students will ride the waves of personal change. How big the waves build depends on how we balance content and contact. For this wave action, the collaborative critical inquiry, students share what they've learned about content in a way that introduces them to the class, not just via text, but in voice too, so it's high in contact. This pedagogical pattern serves two purposes. One, to build a discourse and common understanding of important theories of learning, literacy, and literature. This is vital when a course usually includes teachers who've taught for years and are working toward graduate degrees, and also those who have never taught, perhaps just graduated with a BA in English and have no exposure to pedagogical theory. And second, it serves a purpose of modeling social constructivist theory that I really want my students to experience. And finally, it helps to build a sense of community and cohesion in the class. I call this pedagogical pattern waves of change. Prior to the first big wave, students are introduced to the course goals in which they are to reflect and add their own. I call this a funds of knowledge inventory with credit to Lewis Mall, and their funds of knowledge inventory, or FOCI, is published as a first blog post. I review and match theory to student. An experienced teacher may actually apply reader response and have some insights to share, while an inexperienced one may be a musician who multiple intelligences theory may seem like a real breakthrough. Then I create a voice thread, which is a very handy tool for collaborative projects. In Wave 1, students reflect on what they know and research to learn more about their assigned theory. Then they critically reflect to consider how this new understanding may affect how they teach. Then they compose a creative response as a sort of a mini podcast. I always lead off to model and assure them that you can be creative and academic and say serious things with a sense of humor too. Usually I'm very corny. Here's an example from Ryan, who has a freshly minted BA in English.
I'm a kinesthetic learner, which means I understand concepts best when I learn them using my hands, my ears, and my eyes. One of my teachers was working with me on a project, and she realized that I'm smart, but sometimes just reading or hearing isn't enough for me to retain the information. And this made a world of difference to me in how I studied in the future. And I think this is how Vygotsky's zone of proximal development basically works. It's in opposition to the use of just standardized tests to judge a child's intelligence, and instead suggests using a comparison from how a child performs a task first with assistance and of someone who's mastered it, and then once again when the assistance has been removed.
Ryan was obviously excited to make this personal connection to Vygotsky, and I dare say it's a theory she'll take to heart. Now for Wave 2, students listen to each other's mini podcast and make connections, which they then synthesize into just a brief statement that has meaning for them. Let's follow up with Ryan's synthesis.
I, like Megan, was a little overwhelmed by the idea of synthesizing 12 theories into one cohesive statement. I had to listen to everything twice. The first time I was just terrified, but after listening again and looking over my notes, there is one word that comes up again and again and again, and it's connection. Today, teaching is about connecting to the students and helping them connect to the material and perhaps straying from typical methods to create an all-new one that better connects with this generation. There's so much going on in the world around us that it's necessary to really plug in. And connecting to people includes connecting to what they spend their time doing, which would be utilizing technology. It's an almost funny contradiction that in a world where face-to-face seems to be becoming obsolete, connection is what's vital.
By George, I think she got it. Wave three I call a wild card, or also a process dividends, sort of carry through with this theme of funds of knowledge inventory. These are optional special insights, kudos for peers, questions for our live seminars, musings about the theories or the topics. So it's a wild card. It's optional. Add what you'd like to. Then we follow through our discussion in a real-time class. As Dave White described, real-time class is an opportunity for building class cohesiveness, as well as I can't imagine talking about literature without having a chance to get together for a live seminar. Did I mention that the live seminar takes place in the Book Hinge, which is a sanctuary for contemplating literature? It just happens to be located in the virtual world of Second Life. I heartily recommend this pedagogical pattern, and will look forward to learning about variations on this theme that you create. Students usually learn much from this experience about how pedagogical theory, and also about themselves, and how they may use technology in the service of learning and teaching. Remember, you can't stop the waves, but you can learn how to surf, and surfing can become a passion.